thought for the day. Cool. So obviously I've been writing a lot, I've been thinking a lot, and I've been mentioning a lot. I don't know if you know me personally, but on social media I've briefly been writing a lot of speeches and stuff on Instagram especially. But perception is one thing I'm really passionate about. I just finished doing an audition for a TED Talk. I said some stuff and I really would love to share it with you. And it's something I truly believe. So on my Instagram last week, 2 weeks ago, I talked about perception, i.e. I was sat in the train and saw the clouds moving past. I was moving at high speed. I developed that idea. However, I want to give you a little bit more in the sense that I was in that train, the clouds don't seem to be moving that quick. How would I look from when I was sat on the clouds to looking down? How would that whole earth look? And sometimes the higher we get, sometimes we tend to see less movement. Also, the lower we get, we tend to see more movement because that's our eye line. So it depends on where we're sat, depends on where we're looking at, depends whether I'm in the train, whether I'm outside the train. Perception is everything, and let me continue. Perception is the reason why people succeed. Perception is the reason why people fail. Perception and failure are synonymous because if we see our failure as, and we perceive our failure as the end, then it's not a successful failure. It's just failure that is failure. It's a step backwards in the wrong direction. To be clear, the wrong direction. Every step backwards isn't a wrong direction. It just depends on our intended direction. I digress. But what I was going to say is, a lot of people, there's this saying, the road that leads to nowhere, the path that leads to nowhere. And I don't believe that because I thought about it in 2 ways. The road that leads to nowhere, one, it depends on what nowhere is to you. Because nowhere to you and your value of what nowhere is something and somewhere to somebody else. I think that's a perception to keep in mind. Following on, Snap's about to end. I firmly believe in this as well. I believe that the road that leads to nowhere isn't a road that is for you. Because I believe in life we were created as builders. So we're made to build. So the road that leads to nowhere isn't a road that leads to nowhere. It's a road that is a path, as an example of things we need to do and develop. Meaning that road that leads to nowhere is a road that we need to build on, i.e. we need to build the future that we want. And the future can never be given to us unless we work in the present. Just to show you that every moment you aspire or aim for is every moment that you need to spend working on now in this given moment. I even say yesterday, because if you have an idea, you need to be working on it yesterday for it to become reality, because procrastination could just eat you up. And that's why I just want to leave you that, like, the road that leads to nowhere isn't the road for you, because you need to be so focused on building your road that you don't even need to see it as nowhere, because you need to love the process so much that it doesn't make sense until it makes sense. I literally keep saying that because nothing makes sense until it makes sense. And the fact is that, as you know, usually when we get older, we tend to realize that we're more like our parents than we ever realized. And that's because it never made sense to us, because our perception of life was hindered by our experience with life. For example, a child, you're holding a child's hand, they may not see it as important as to you holding their hand in crossing the street, because their perception is they've been in a secure place all their life. But when they start to grow older, when you then have your own child and you realize that the risk that child was in, and then you start to see that I was once that child, you understand that my perception was askew because of my lack of experience and knowledge, understanding of the world around me. The same way that a child can grab a piece of food on the floor and try to put it in their mouth, to them that's a piece of food. To me as a parent, I see that as that's dirty, don't put it in your mouth. To them, they start crying, why are you taking my food away from me? If they could talk, like, why are you taking my food away from me? But to me as a parent, I understand that has bacteria, that has dirt, that's gonna make you ill. You don't understand that because to you it's just food. So that's your level of understanding. So in your lack of understanding right now, and maybe your perception may be limited, aim to seek to understand more, but also realize that in time, more will become known to you. So that's why I say that phrase, and I'm gonna end it with, it will make sense when it makes sense. And that's why I said what I said. That's what I mean to talk about. So hopefully this message is understood.